Hello, storytellers. Storytelling Ron. This is just I'm just gonna go all over the place, but it's all focused on role playing games and my Christian role playing game that I've got up here: the Dark Ages, Apostles of the Epoch, Christians in Space, and I also am working on a Gothic setting, which is Dark Ages, but 15th century Paris. The Dark Ages is 6th, 7th century, but it could be anywhere in Europe at any time that you'd want to choose. And the Gothic is just me adding another flavor to Dark Ages, but I'm also adding a couple more, home brew or add-on rules that make the combat a little more intense. So I just want to talk about it and go through it because I haven't, done. I just want to just talk about it. Go for things. What I'm working on. Let me move over to this screen. Now this is Gemini. I'm using Gemini to do the artwork. I'm just finding that I can get more done with it. I did all the artwork for the Dark Ages, Apostles of the Epoch, and Cruises of Space, and I'm not making a lot of money on this either. So just so you all know, which is I'm fine. I get why I'm doing a hardcore Christian role playing game where you play as a Christian. You bring up Jesus Christ in the game, and I'm trying to show and prove to you guys that the and I'll talk about this in a sec, but I'm trying to prove to you guys that we can have a very cool Christian role playing game where we bring Jesus Christ. We have the genres. We have the genres that we want in this game: monsters, demons, crypts, catacombs, all that kind of stuff. I'm trying to prove that to you guys that we don't need Dungeons and Dragons. We don't need secular pagan games. We can have Jesus Christ in our games. And by the way, just so you're clear, we're clear on this. You don't play Jesus. You don't play an angel or God. You play us, stupid, fallible Christian missionaries who make mistakes. In the last game, one of the missionaries wanted to kill the witch. He didn't even want to convert. He was angry. He knew she was evil, and the others had to tamper him down and then take care. Sort of work on the witch and to convert her to Christianity. And they had to use their blessing, rebuke, I think it was rebuke, to basically knock her out. Like, not knock her out physically, but exhaust her spiritually, mentally, and then deal with her later. But I love that this game shows a lot of us Christians playing missionaries failing or making mistakes or getting angry or getting impatient, because that right there is absolutely true of the church history, that we do get angry, we are retaliatory, we do fall into vengeance and anger. And I want us to know that, because there are plenty of mistakes in church history, but the overall truth of what we're trying to do is for the Lord and for the church, to spread the church. So when we become overly critical, we don't get anything actually done then. I want us to get things done. And how do you get things done as a Christian? You join a church, you start ministries, and you push those ministries out into the culture. And you're a bulwark, you're a bastion, you're a refuge, you're a sanctuary against the evil that is paganism, the LGBTQT, the secular agenda, the Islamic agenda, the unholy alliance that they have to destroy church. They don't care about white supremacy or white racism or whatever the hell they're talking about America. It's Jesus Christ they're after. And Jesus Christ and the church survived. The only place that survived was in white Europe. In the Middle East, it got wiped out. In Africa, it got wiped out. I mean, it's growing again. It's struggling, but it never could establish the way it did in Europe. And it was the church that built Europe and built, what we deem white today, white people. That's the one thing I don't like about this argument about white people are superior, Africans are inferior. The technology, the age of sail, the exploration, everything. White people seem to be doing all the successful stuff. It's not because they're white. It's because the church established things everywhere across Europe and defeated paganism there and created by defeating paganism, I'm not saying it got rid of paganism. Paganism was still 50, 60, 70% of the population. But there's enough churches and Christians in there to quell the stupidity, the brutal, torturous, gang warfare stupidity of paganism. Like it did here in America too. So people are like, oh, the Native Americans are victims. Like, bull crap. They were evil, brutal, vicious, tortured each other, as part of their warfare. What I mean by torture, just so you all know, is, putting splinters in your fingernails, skinning them alive, cutting off their genitalia while they're tied up over an hour slowly, right? One scrotum sac, cutting open their scrotum sac, letting it fall out, letting them hang there as they laughed at them. Okay, do you understand what torture is? This was normal for Native American Indians, for Indians in America. Normal for pagans. What was also normal was they shared their daughters sexually. That was normal. So and slavery was normal. And so we're being lied to, and we're lying to ourselves, and we're ignoring that. The church came in and said, "F this. No more of this." So we're called the bad guys because we did that throughout history. And I'm a contentious, harsh dude, so I'm getting a little pissed that we as church people are not realizing what we've done, what the bride of Christ has done in the West, and created the luxuries that we have, the blessings that we have. But we need to go back to church. We need to organize. Start your ukulele group. Start your role-playing game group at your church. Fellowship at your church. And as you grow, then take that out to the conventions. Take that out to the cons. Take that out to the cultural marketplaces. Okay? But do it through your church. Work with others. Get refined. Get sharpened with other men. And women take care of the children. Women be the muse that men need. Be the support. Be the help that we men need in accomplishing these things. And do some of your own as well. I don't mind that. But your primary goal as a woman, as my wife, as my daughters, is the house and the children. Like, I want my younger daughter to be a chef, and I wanted her to run a restaurant because we got this whole history. She rocked, and she was on the Food Network channel. So was I. We went to the whole show, did all that. She's rocking right now at one of the number one restaurants here in Los Angeles. She's a sous chef. She runs the kitchen at 21 years old. So I want her to be this freaking restaurant empire thing. But if she wants to, and she's courting right now with a man, if she wants to become a wife and have children, I, as the father who and my ego and pride and arrogance, have got to appreciate that, because thankfully, I taught her that as well. I'm so anxious for her to be an empire restaurateur thing, right? Chef. She kicks butt she can make the best dishes. $150 ribeye plate that is on the menu right now. I think it's even higher than 150, and it's she did it. She designed it, and along with other things on the menu. But my point being is that if she's courting right now with a man, if she decides to be a wife and raise kids, I, as a Christian father, Christian man, will support her in that. Right? I want her. That is more important than this wonderful awesomeness. If she became I want her to start a little ideal of mine, kind of thing, and she's rolling her eyes at that. I want a wine bar, breakfast thing and all that, whatever. But if she doesn't do that and decides to be at home with her children, I have to. Okay, that's real. That's true. That's more true. That's honoring the father and the mother. Okay. I'm going off again. Role playing. So I'm using this, as you can see. I'm trying to get just a couple of components here for my maps to have like little exits going down kind of thing. But Gemini is not as easy as it's. I don't know if you can see on the side here, but there's a lot of. I have a lot of. I'm trying to cut this to show you. You got to pay for Gemini, or at least the one I'm doing, and I have a whole bunch, and these are all like a ton of dialogues here. Let me just scroll through this real quick. But this is it's very hard. I don't really get exactly what I want. I have to re-describe it, and refix it. And he doesn't really see, like, this is like, what the heck is this? Like, he went from, I'm trying to get this to him to work on this, and he went to this, so it's not as easy. I mean, I would see something like this is cool, but there's these people in here, and I had to try to get him to remove them, and he wouldn't remove them. It's just on, but this one's pretty good. I'm going to use it. I also, at some point, I get so tired, I just say, I got to use what's there, which is fine. And these are all incorrect, and it's really, I'm trying to think what I get out of this. Like if I just went back to doodling and did my doodling, which is fine, I could do that, but I would only get like a few, whereas the AI gives me a bunch of them when it works, and while he's working on it, I can work on other stuff, you know. So um, I'm working on, I'm working on, and I just started this, but I'm working on putting together a very big Paris thing with a bunch of maps, a bunch of locations. And this is an old map, and I checked it on. It's in the Commons in Wikipedia, Wiki Commons, so I can use it. I mean, I don't know if I'm going to sell this. I'm going to put it on my. I'm going to put it in my either like a Patreon, Substack, or on my website. I'm going to start a membership thing where you can go in and get all this stuff and pay a monthly thing. But my website takes a really big chunk out of it. You know, like almost half. You know, of your monthly, if you did a monthly thing of $2 or $3. But I really like the website because I can kind of put things, you know, in a fun way. Where I was on Patreon, I think you just kind of list them. Anyway, that's just another thing. I'm just trying to figure out which one I want to use. But here I'm really breaking down the sectors of Old Paris and the different houses and quarters and cultures, and all. This is all I'm using GPT to break down the history and color of Paris, because I don't want to spend time reading, and I guess I got to go into a little. I should make a separate video on this, but you know, I'm trying to. What is cool or not cool with using AI? But role-playing games is a very sort of thin, vapid, cursory overview of a setting. It's not really supposed to be deep theology or deep dive into a history. It's not supposed to come up with something new. It's supposed to just give you a flavoring of the setting, so you could just do some fun dungeon role-playing game stuff. And so that's really what I'm trying to get out of this. I'm trying to just get the areas. And these are all from chat. I'm using Copilot for my writing, and then Gemini for the images. And Copilot's free, and it's very. Here, I'll just pop it up real quick. It's very. I don't know, just easy to use. It's a little clunky, but let me just grab one image just to show you. So I just go. So you can do these pages things, and then these edit in page. You can, when you get the info, you can click on and switch over to edit in page, which I found is a better way to get the formatting of like this and then move it over. But actually, I don't need this. I'm reformatting everything the way I want in InDesign. And am I changing any of it? Not really. I'm kind of leaving it mostly what it is. I'm cleaning it up, and then right now I'm just trying to organize all the information because I'm getting a ton of information. And then once I do kind of figure out where I want to place it all, I'm going to start creating, cool little stories based on the information I'm getting. But I'm trying to get the 15th century Paris info of just the flavor of the place. What's there, what's the economy, what's the factions, what's the houses, what's the naming conventions, because I don't know anything about French. So, but it's pretty interesting and fascinating. I really like the simple collating thing about this. Now, ethically, is this cool or uncool? I think it's very cool, and here's why too. I remember, and I know this, when I was at UCLA, and at New Mexico State, the professors that were academics, and to be honest with you, I don't respect professors. It's a failed the university system because of how woke and they can't define a woman, they all this crap. Their secular atheist agenda, that's the ones I don't respect. I just see them as soft-shouldered sycophants, professing to be wise, but they're fools. So I just don't really have a respect for most academics. I mean, if I met them personally, I would be very cautious when I talk to them. I prefer talking to a cop or a fireman over them, but or hanging out with. But and I'd get a lot more out of it, or an EMT person. But anyway, am I stealing? Like the AI, is it stealing from academics? I don't care, because they steal from each other, and professors actually have a whole network of slaves. They're the grad students. The grad students and the associate professors do all the research and collating and slave work of the professors when they write their books and do their papers and all that crap. So these the graduate students, getting their masters or whatever, they're desperate. They want to, they have to kiss ass. They're the air of arrogance and the elitism that they all have, but they're all just sort of slaves to each other, and they all want to control this university system, and keep out anyone that they hate, which is of Jesus Christ, generally speaking, statistically speaking. But they're all slave classes. So the professors my AI is obviously gathering this information from, they just gathered it from each other, and they just use their graduate students and their freaking associate professors as slaves to gather this information that they would use. So I don't care. I don't have any allegiance to these people. I don't care where the AI finds the information's out there now. It's too late. You can't genie's out of the bottle. You can't put it back. So I don't really care. I appreciate. And there are plenty of historical books I'm reading. I'm researching the Templars right now through printed work. I'm researching, and I bought a bunch of the books on the African Squadron and the Royal Navy. So those are, I'm reading. But the thing too about that is when you're reading these things, I'm not sitting there taking notes. I'm not sitting there trying to collate all this information. So I'm still going to use the AI to help me collate information of books I've already read. Which is great. Which is what it does, and it breaks it up into these bullet points. And this is obviously perfect for role playing. So if you're a GM and you want to create a setting, blah blah blah, and especially if you're a Christian, because Christian. And here I still got to format this, but it's Christians. I want to find out about church history. I want to, delve into it. And I'm not afraid about Catholic either. I'm especially early on in the 14th, 15th century, because the schism doesn't happen until the 15th century, 16th, 14th, 15th. It takes a couple hundred years for everything to get across. But I still feel in my heart about the Catholics that they're fine. I understand we have huge differences. I don't really care though. That's the least of my worries right now. We have pagans to deal with. We have the Islam to deal with. We have our cowardice to deal with. I would prefer not to fight each other. I'd prefer not to argue over Christian nationalism. I think that's stupid. I don't care about the definition of Christian nationalism. I want Christ in all avenues of culture. In America, I'm Christian nationalist apparently. Christians, stop defining what that means and start doing something for the Lord. Whatever at your church, join. So when I see this a lot on X too, I see a lot of Christian men saying they're not. Christian nationalism is a heresy or whatever. It's so stupid. There's no definition of it. So why are you so arrogant like that? Stop it. Stop it. The Christian nationalism is just another Marxist term to divide us. That's all it is. That's all it is. So it doesn't matter what the term is because there is none. They made it up to yell at us so that we would fight each other. Same with white supremacy or racism. Same thing. That's what they're doing. They keep moving the goalposts. Ignore them. Be a Christian nationalist. Not be a Christian nationalist. Do something for the Lord. Fight the culture. So what was I talking about? I don't know. But church history, I love now delving into church history, and I don't care where it takes me. I love creating these characters that these lists and these things here. I'm getting kind of excited again about role playing as far as like that kid excitement of creating worlds and settings. But the worlds and settings we need to create are church history. Delve into church history, whatever region, area, time period, and I got the witch trials here. I got the overall mood, the church culture, religious powers, and the AI will sometimes bring up corrupt church stuff, which is fine. It's just AI. It's finding stuff on the internet, whatever. And this is like giving me some houses that I want to build out on, which I'm actually starting with this one here, House de Montreal, and I'm creating a bunch of maps around the area that it's part of the Bastille area. So let me show you real quick what I'm doing, just an example. So I don't know if you can see this map. Maybe I can zoom in a little bit, but this is the old Paris map. And find like Berlin. Grab an old map of Berlin. Start placing. Go with ChatGPT or Copilot on Microsoft, and ask it for factions and history of that period, of a certain period of time, and it will come up with a nice outline. But again, you can come up and use my Paris one, and have a blast with this one. And I'm creating maps, and the maps are time consuming. They're I'll show you some, but it's not easy. It's what I like about AI that I bet you I can make the maps in the same amount of time, but they would just look cartoony and a little dirty. The one thing that I find very time consuming is refining the ink lines, the drawing and the painting of it all. Because I draw it out really fast and color it really fast, and then it just looks, flat and, not a lot of time put in it. But I don't have time. I've got to create a bunch of maps and create a bunch of things. And so the AI is great, and it's simple, and it looks better, more polished, and so more pleasing to the eye in that sense. And I'm not trying to create something original. I'm just trying to create a usable thing with polished painterly skills, and I'm trying to create a bunch of them. Anyway, so I'm starting them off here as the beginner, Saint Antoine. I really like, my eye kind of went to this little thing up here. So they start outside of Paris, and then they're going to start moving into Paris as far as their adventures go. And House de Montauban is going to take over the royal palace, because the time period I picked was just perfect. I kind of knew, but didn't know the totality of it. By the way, this map is like 16th century, so it's actually a couple hundred years later, and there's actually more farmland in this area in the 14th century, or 15th century. But whatever, I don't care. This is the cool map. But they're starting there, and I'll show you some of these maps. But they're going to go into the Bastille area, the House de Montauban. It's very chaos and right after the Black Plague, right after the 100 Years' War, the King of England has declared regency over Paris. There's no French king or whatever, and the houses are all fighting each other. So it's a really great period to do this, and so it's all chaos in there. I'm going to put a bunch of very dark, gothic, grim stuff in there as far as like maps and zombies and demonic things and catacombs and lots of evil things. I'm going to go very kind of extravagant in the D&D sense with it. So lots of underworld stuff, and there's all these cathedrals in here. Look at all these amazing cathedrals in this map. This is what we're sort of forgetting, that Paris had a ton of cathedrals. This is a depiction of Paris, obviously by an artist, but it's obviously a depiction of what he saw. What am I doing? Did the wrong thing there. Oh, I did the wrong thing. Let me I just want to get back to, come on, get back to this, the church. And this is what is upsetting to me. As you can see, many things are upsetting to me, that we just forget that the West is not about white people. It's about churches. Look at all these cathedrals. There's churches everywhere, and they're massive as far as, the artist depiction. But I'm thinking, he's like, this is what I see. I see buildings, but I see massive. Look at all these cathedrals. Now, obviously, today in modern Paris, they're hidden. But this is what was building a civilization. All these cathedrals and churches. There's Notre Dame, but look at all these other ones. And a lot of these are gone, obviously. But back then, they're everywhere. And they were building the civilization we know of today. The glorious civilization of freedom, liberty, human rights was done by these. And remember, the cathedrals and the church culture is surrounded by paganism. During this period, there were, and I read it in one of my books, which I did not notate down, but there was like 30,000 in Paris. I should find it again, but 30,000 sorcerers in Paris was estimated by the church or whatever. 30,000. That's a ton, considering there's maybe 100,000 population. And then the sorcerers is only like a ratio of 1 to 4 witches. Like they'd always have 3 or 4 witches, So there was 100,000 to 200,000 witches. Now, I don't remember the exact number, but whatever. But my point being, it was massive. The amount of paganism that was still there during this period, during any period of church history. Paganism is the default of all of us, our nature. So the church is where we go to become real Christians, to organize even our own thoughts and our own way of being a Christian, being refined by other Christians, and we refine other Christians. We help each other to become better in our journey with Christ, our relationship with Christ and with God, and we help then the church spread it across the land. If you don't do that, if you guys are fighting like as libertarians or as individuals against paganism, you are outnumbered and you will be wiped out. You will be gulagged. You will be Marxist and Islamically wiped out. You need to fortify the church, and the church is what keeps it at bay. The evil that's coming, that's all around. So get back in your church. Start a role-playing game group. Start one with this one. I would recommend Dark Ages, not this one. This is a little darker. This is for your like veteran role-playing people. But actually, the Apostles of the Epoch one there is pretty good, I think. The Apostles of the Epoch, and granted, Apostles to me is, I agree that the Apostles are only the Apostles who were with Jesus Christ, but I just playing off this, the sounds of the word Epoch and Apostle. But anyway, so Apostles of the Epoch is a much simpler setting, more fun, more gonzo. You can kind of, all mutant zombies and post-apocalyptic. So you can, that's a little more, this is, I'm trying to actually throw in a bunch of information and factions and historical settings and really giving it a lot of flavor. So this will be a big PDF, and every one of the maps and images in here will also be well, not this one, but the map ones, like this one here, will be available as well. So you can use it as a battle map, and I have it right here actually. So I'm using this in Foundry. This is the cathedral that they're starting, St. Antoine's, and this is the which they got converted. And just to show you real quick, here is, I'm just unhide these characters, but this is, they just met this guy who's a fief official magistrate. I should have been more informative with them, but anyway, of House Matmar that has given them a mission if they want to take it. But I'm going to give them a bunch of missions the next time we play. They've returned to the church after going to the catacombs. And if you want to watch it on my website or YouTube channel. And just so you know, I don't edit my games. I just record them and upload them. Because one, I guess I just don't like editing. But I just have so many things I'm working on and doing and writing a book and all this other stuff that I don't like make it, we there's a lot of times in the game where we're just talking about the rules or, technical problems with OBS or connections. So it's kind of a bummer. I wish I would clean it up a little more. And I need to describe things more. I think because of the artwork and because of the Foundry and all that, I sort of let that describe it, and I don't describe it audibly, which I need to remind myself to do that more. But because of the artwork, I just feel like that's enough. I get kind of lazy, but it's not lazy. I'm just using all the tools I have, and I'm forgetting that I should make this into a audio thing, because I don't watch role-playing games, actual plays on YouTube. I listen to some, and then I listen to mine. I'm like, what am I doing? I gotta be more descriptive. Anyway, I got so many things going on at once when I'm GMing that I kind of, I can't really, I'm doing so many like technical things while I'm doing that. There's just, I'm not really, can't remember everything I would like to do. But they're dealing with the church. They're trying to rebuild this church. I'm actually going to ask Gemini. Let me do it right now. Let me show you. I'm going to ask Gemini to redraw this one, but clean it up like it's being fixed up. I don't know if Gemini can do it or not, but we're going to find out. I'm going to show you right now. I'll just do it right now, just because I'm just chilling like a villain right now. Okay. Let me use, and I'm really, on the left here are these recents, these chats, and I'm trying to actually organize my chats so that I know what I'm, like this one here is like all about tokens. And I'm trying to see if I have a church one here. This one is the countryside. So on the chats here, I'm trying to like organize which one, what they're doing. What's the cat? I don't know if I have a church one here. Darkest Dungeon. Oh, I was like considering doing Darkest Dungeon style looking characters, which is kind of cool, but I'm gonna stick with the real stuff. That was kind of cool idea. Gothic. Oh, this is the Gothic Bastille maps. I'm trying to get like a dungeon stuff, which is these are pretty cool. It's very weird. It's very strangey. AI. With all the plethora of things it does, but that's okay. I can use it. Kind of a thing. Let me see here. It's tough. Oh man, I'm trying so desperately for it to draw more stuff like this, but it won't do it. Anyway, it's just a whole nother story. I'm trying to see if there's where the church one is that I did, but I don't. I don't have these exactly organized. But I'm gonna just start a new one. Generate an audio overview of your PDF. Oh, interesting. Okay. Anyway, let me just do this. Let me see. So, tools. I guess I want to use the banana one. I'm not doing any videos. Okay, let me find. And these are all a bunch of things I've done. I've downloaded those. But let me go to my gaming studio. See, I'm working hard here. Gothic. I just want to get the cathedral. Look at all this stuff. I'm just see. So I'm not like, oh, let the AI do all the work. I mean, it's a lot of work. It's still a lot of work, but at least I'm getting a lot of stuff done so that I can move on to the next thing. All right, let me open up that guy, St. Antoine Chapel. Can you? Now I'm just going to be quick about this. Sometimes you got to like really describe it, but I'm just, I'm doing a YouTube video right now, so I can't. Can you redraw this, but make the cathedral and map areas? Oh gosh, okay. You got to be really careful how you just ask. Okay, but you got all this. Can you draw this? Redraw this cathedral battle map, keeping everything and very close to this, but just make it look as if folks came in to clean it up, straighten things out, fix the broken furniture. This is so simple and goofy, but I'm going to try it. Can you redraw this cathedral battle map, keeping everything very close to this, but just make it look as if folks came in to clean it up, straighten things out, fix the broken furniture. We'll see if it does it. All right, well, that's working. See, that's cool. Then I can go off and work on something else. Okay, so what I've done here is I took the House de Montrevant information, and I'm building this out as the starting point, getting a little bit of a plot thing going on here that I'm thinking about. And I'm going to build out more pages, but I'm going to create the Bastille area. I'm going to show you that real quick. I made some maps actually here in Foundry. So let me grab this one. So, let me grab, see, this is an AI. So let me grab this. So this is how House de Montreval. I got the AI to make me a thing here. I got the nobles here. They're going to come in and talk to them. And maybe I'm going to try to do sort of an intriguey sort of thief thing here where they got to go and find some information kind of thing. We'll see how it plays out. I got to get some cool music going. Maybe I got little servants over here. This was a tough map to get explain and get the thing figured out. And I wish it would make them a little bigger, but every time I ask for something bigger, it doesn't really understand what I'm asking for. But I also, before they even go to House Maltremont, I also have been able to get some maps in the area that they may be able to go check out, like these abandoned mines and cave systems around Saint Antoine. So I want to have them give them some options of things they want to do, and I'm going to add a little more. And these are just fun dungeon crawls. Now, as a Christian game, what should they be doing? I gotta get this map back up. I move maps around, so let me just refine this map. That's good that I did this, just to organize it a little bit better. The main thing that should be done in any The main thing that should be done in any game is evangelism and church planting. And that doesn't mean that it's going to be perfect, okay? It doesn't mean it's going to be perfect. So after they clean up the cathedral, the clergy is going to ask them to go just ask people to come back to church after they've cleaned it up. So they're going to go, and there's going to be some sort of re-evangelism going on here, because obviously this is Paris, 15th century. They might find some evil doers, but they're being asked now to go and gather the local Saint Antoine folks to come back to church. So they're going to have a little bit of an adventure there in this downtime. And they had some fun adventure here coming here. As you can see up here, they fought a wild, crazy, feral boar, diseased boar, but I'll clean that up in something. Oh, you can hear the sounds. I don't know if you hear them. I added some sounds, some crickets. And there's a shrine here with a pagan thing on it. There's a cemetery over here, so, little fun little adventures. You can throw in anything you want. There's some bandits over here that they actually almost converted, but then they failed the conversion roll, and they left, finding them annoying. But they're going to go and work with the locals, try to get them back in the church, try to build the church up, get some glory points out of that, and then start on some more adventures, whether they go into the mines or whether they go to the Bastille, the House Maltremont. But yeah, this is House Monterval, whatever. This is, and the story behind this, and if you're one of my players, please don't listen to this. But the story behind this is that the Bastille, and I couldn't get it to do Bastille, right? This is the closest I get AI. Trust me, I struggled with it for over a couple days, many days to get it, and I just, you know what? I'm just gonna use this. Trust me, it's not. Trust me, it's not that easy. It's a couple days, and I got this thing. I had to. This is like none of these maps are exactly what I want, so I just have to. You know what? I'm just gonna use this one. That's a below, and then this is even further below, like darker cult stuff, right? But House of Montervant is going to be a storyline where they're being taken over by this evil cult kind of a thing, and the Lord is the noble is just kind of weak. So the church needs to come in and strengthen and fortify the Lord and cleanse it of this corruption so that they could be noble again. So that's the storyline I'm doing with that. Hopefully. And definitely got some evil going on down here. So what's cool is I now have like my treasure, like when they find these statues and stuff, now in the new sort of Gothic rules, they can destroy the statue, and then based on the pastor, the clergy's preaching or prayer, they'll get a die rank result to then roll on this to see what they get, inspired die or glory points. Let me explain, just because I'm going to nerd out, the game's die rank system, okay? And I really do want to do like a graphic on the recording too, so you kind of see it easily. Actually, I wonder if I have it in here. The die rank system I'm using is just one added on mechanic to solve the issue. Let's see, here it is. Let's use this one. I'm just going to show it on the screen right now. Ooh, it's all nice and glowy. All right, can you see that? Well, it's kind of confusing with the lighting. Let me copy this and go to another map and do it somewhere else, just to keep this easier, I hope. All right, go into this map, and I got the Paris map in here as well. Anyway, can I? Nope, can't paste it. Okay. This is just the Paris map. Just grab this again. All right. What is the die rank system? So basically, the die rank system it's just like D&D or OSRs. You have a D20 plus your trait, which is your ability score, like +3, +2, that kind of thing, and then the die rank system. This die rank system collates, sums up, gathers up all of your bonuses, your skill bonus, your blessings if you get blessed by the clergy, any kind of factors that add into this, your gear, your magic items, whatever, all that stuff gets summed up as die ranks, right? I have 3 die ranks in skill. I've got 2 in blessing. I've got a 2 in gear. And when you first start off, you're only going to have a few, but pretty quickly you get up to 8, 9, 10, 12 die ranks. Okay. And here's the thing: you can go on, keep going on. They're playing 70 episodes into A Christians in Space, same characters. They hover around 15 die ranks, 10 to 15 for their shooting, their skills. Here's the thing though, that I really like about this is that after a certain amount of die ranks, they don't really want to gain anymore because it becomes kind of superfluous or not really all that helpful, or just too burdensome. But that's because that's like real life to me. Like I could keep going on and on with skills and better equipment and better gear, but at some point it's like, you know what, this is good enough. I'm gonna branch out into other things, whatever. But what this does too is it really tampers down on you becoming too powerful. So instead of having a +10 at some point where you just always get a +10, you got to roll 2d12s and keep the highest. So let me just show you what that looks like real quick. I have a thing here. Okay. So let's say you have 10 die ranks. You have a +3 in some skill. You get a d20. This is my little tool here. I had a ChatGPT make this script for me. Let me just show you real quick. I worked with a ChatGPT to write out the script. I knew nothing about scripting. an whatever, JavaScript or whatever. Okay, so D12, and so I'm gonna roll this. They got 10 die ranks, and 19 and a 9, 31. So that's a really good roll right there. But as you can see with that numbers, you can have whatever as your. Let me do it again just for the fun of it. But it does give you a variety, in the end, right? Because I could roll a 19 again. Okay, yeah, and it's okay. Yeah, that's really helpful here. Can you get a little more random? 8 and 11. Of course, it's gonna give me the similar number. Do it again. Trust me, though. The players will get this, and they know there's a risk they're gonna roll low. Another kind of averaging out, but you're gonna get high numbers on average because 10 ranks is pretty good. I'm gonna do it again. Darn it, it's really making me. I'm kind of obsessed now. But you can roll. You can obviously see you can roll low. Nat 20, of course. You can roll low. I can roll a 2 and a 3 and a 4. In this system. And what's great about this system too is I don't have a cap of like 10 levels or 10th level or 15th level. Also, my players have been playing the sci-fi one for 70 plus episodes now. A new player can come in and fit right in, no problem. Like, they're going to be noobs, and there's going to be a risk for them, but they can do it. They can have only 1 or 2 die ranks here, and still be in the fight. And I don't have to create like super powerful creatures all the time, right? I don't have to do that. Now, in my Gothic one, this new setting, I'm trying to do that. I'm trying to make it a little more dangerous. So I'm adding a little more flair to it all. So there's going to be some fun stuff. But it's still very dangerous, even at 70 episodes in. Some of the characters have 100, 200 glory points or whatever. I can't remember. But they're still could die. They got to be careful. So the die ring system right here is that's all it does. You just combine all the die rings from all the different factors that give you the bonus, and instead of it being a constant number, which I think is too boring, it comes into this flurry of a dice pool. So you get the best of both worlds. You get a D20 system and a dice pool system. And there's little, we have a couple little combos. If you get them, you like for instance, if you roll a nat 1 on your D20, but you roll a 7 or higher on any of these dice pools, you cancel the nat 1. So that's a fun one. Also, if you roll 7 or higher, you get to explode those dice. You get to keep those, so you get to keep adding up. Oh, and these numbers on the right here, in my new Gothic system, in combat, if you roll above a 20, or whatever you roll above a 20, it turns into die ranks that you can add to your damage. See, so that's makes it even scarier. That's new for Gothic. It's not in the older games. I don't know if I'm going to back, and that's just an optional. You can put it back into them or not. It's not necessary. The game's played just as fun without it, but I wanted to make the Gothic one very scary and brutal. And the regular way is still scary and brutal. Trust me. I just wanted to make it even more scary and brutal. But there's that. And another thing that I have is called die rank result. What is a die rank result? Okay. A die rank result is very simple, and it's a way I don't have to go look up tables. I don't have to look up engineering things. I don't have to do anything. I just look at the numbers and do a little math in it. But whenever they roll, let's just say 12 is the difficulty number or the defense of the creature you're trying to hit, whatever. Let's say 12. It could be 14, 16. You can decide on that based on, there's some rules in there to tell you how to do that. 12 is my default. A simple way of doing, say, treacherous terrain where they have to get, climb or whatever, and I feel like it's very harder than normal. All I do is roll their armor save. They have an armor save. I roll that and add it to the 12. So like plate mail has a D12 armor save. So I just roll a D12, add it to the 12. So I love that because that one, I don't have to decide as a GM what the difficulty is. I just decided based on what kind of armor they're wearing. Because it's hard to climb something with plate mail versus no armor. No armor, the difficulty of climbing the wall is a 12. With armor, roll. Edit. So that's a simple way of me deciding those kind of difficulties for them. And it keeps my brain power focused on other things. So let's say they're climbing a wall. And they have a 12, and then let me roll. I don't even need to do this, but whatever. 3, so 15. 15 is the difficulty for the warrior in plate mail to climb up the wall. So I can do a die rank result thing. Climbing is not necessarily what I do it for, but I can do it because let's just say if he fails or succeeds, well, let's just do that right now. Let's just say he wants to climb the wall. He's got to get there. There's some bad guys up there. Okay, so he's got a 4 prowess for climbing, or aware, but I'll use a prowess. And let's just say he managed to get a D12, like from climbing gear. Actually, climbing is very low, so I'm going to reset that. I'm going to say climbing gear. He has no climbing skill, so he's got 1 for climbing gear, like a rope or whatever, and 1 for assist. They're going to help him try to get up there, pushing him up, whatever. So 2. Okay, fine. 2 is a D6. Roll. He's got to get a 15. Okay, he makes it. 25. Wow. Yeah. He's screaming. They're all screaming. He made it up there. So what does that mean for a die rank result? And I don't generally do it for climbing, but I can. Or I know I'm sorry. I apologize. I actually do it for climbing if they fail. But let's just say, and I'll do an example of him failing. But let's just say he succeeds by 25. So that's 10. 25 above 15 is 10, right? So I half that. That's 5 die ranks. So 5 die ranks. What does that mean then? Why do you get? What do you do? So I tell him you've gained 5 die ranks climbing up. What does that mean? It means that he can do something with those 5 die ranks. He can give it to I'm going to give it to the other players to climb up. Tell him use this rock and do that and do that. I'm going to use 1 for my attack. I'll use 1 to add to my attack because of how fast you climbed up, you surprised them. So you can get 1 die rank to your attack, and you give 4 die ranks to the other characters to help them climb up the wall. Because you told them where to climb. So they get 1. They each get 1. There's 4 guys behind them. So that's how I do it. Let's just say he failed by 10. Right? He failed by 10, so he rolled a 5 total out of 15. Ooh. So 5 die rank fail. What do? I can decide as a GM. Do I roll? It's a D12 here. 5 die ranks is a D12. Do I roll it as a damage, like he tired himself out? Or do I maybe do some of that and then I give a couple to the enemies on the top waiting for him, and they get an extra bonus to hit him, try to hit him as he's climbing up. See? So that's what I use die rank results for. I love it. It feels a little convoluted, a little difficulty, but it's a great way of determining success and fail based on the difficulty number that you've set before them. The simplest was I would just roll a D12 and give him a vitality drain. He exhausted himself. But in this scenario, I would definitely give some of the bad guys out there an extra die rank to attack him, push him back off. Pushing him back off would be a prowess versus prowess, but they would get that extra die ranks there because of him failing that climb. And I'd probably give him an extra die rank for up high ground, but I would obviously give him a die rank for the rope. So but whatever. But so there's all this fun little die rank things going on with die ranks and die rank results that I love in this game. Does it slow it down? It does, but in a sense of because you're doing all these little mechanics. But I don't have to look at any charts, and I don't have to go look up climbing charts or or anything like that. So that doesn't slow down. And I it's a very the die rank resulting is a very everyone sees the results kind of a thing. I don't have to go and look at a chart and make up a number or decide a number. Everyone kind of sees the results with the die ranks and die rank results, like in front of us as dice. So that's why I use die rank results or die ranks. It's a harder sale, for me to new players, especially in new GMs. It's a harder sale. I get that. I could just go back to just constant numbers. It's definitely a harder sell. So is a Christian RPG. That's a hard sell in and of itself. But I love it. I'm sticking with it because it really gives this flavor, and you can do such long campaigns with these characters, like never-ending stories with these characters. If you want it, I mean, we get kind of crazy, but it's not going to be as unwieldy as having a 20th level D&D character, or one of those other OSRs where they just can't. The solve for all these OSRs is, we'll just cap you at 10th and start a new character. Which I don't. Pagans do that. I get it. That's life to them. Life is cheap to pagans, but to us, we really enjoy life and the people that have accomplished things. Yeah. So if you gotten this far, please comment, subscribe, and comment about do you want this? Do you want to see this as a like a paid subscribe thing? And I want to do it low, like $2 a month, $2 or $3 a month, no more than $3. Somewhere on either Patreon or the website, but I'm really looking to do something like that, because I know, and you know, when you put money into something, you care about it, and when I get money for it, I really care. I'm really encouraged to do it. I'm still doing it no matter what. I've been blessed in my life, so I'm still encouraged. But if you're going to get something out of this, I'm hoping you give me a little bit of money to encourage me to keep doing this. So I could just do this as a mess, and just use it in my GM things. But I want to organize it so that it's usable by you guys or everybody, and really why I want it to be usable by you or by other people is so that we can have Christian role-playing games where we evangelize and church playing in the game, and it gives you and me the psyche of doing that in the real world. So that's what I'm working on. I've got a ton of imagery. Let me just go through real quick this. I think I've already done this, but I'm doing it again. Using the AI, this is all the stuff I've gotten through AI. Even audio. I'm even doing some audio, like sound effects, and then all these things here. Let me show you the beasts. So these are all AI images of beasts that I'm using. Very primal and primordial kind of looking. Fun beasts to use in the game, and I'm working out stats for those. Also, I figured out a way that I can export out the game, like all the monster stats as modules, and then you can load them up into your Foundry. But you got to have all these assets installed as well to do it. I don't need the city. Those are big maps. Cultists, see, got a bunch of zombie-looking cultists, bandits, and there's a zombie one as well. Dan, where is it? Unholy zombies. We got to do more unholy stuff. Parisians, got a bunch of NPC kind of Parisians you can encounter and convert and work with. We even got a magician in here, kind of character, like an elementalist magician. So, and that's the character you can play, actually. Holy warriors, we got that. So we got a bunch of things going on here. These are token items to find. Oh, I got more as well. Got to put them in there. I'm building out more and more of this kind of vermin and pests. Yeah, look at these creepy primordial sort of bloodworms or whatever. Rats, obviously. I'm going to try to come out. Ooh, giants. Kind of ogre giantism kind of humans. Demonic. Doing some demons. Real, illusionary, however you want to do it. But we obviously believe in demons. And generally they possess, but I'm really kind of going with, like that demon, the one that was chained in, We Are Legion, where he's and the Roman soldiers couldn't even handle him. And Roman soldiers can handle everything. So biblically, it's, we can have big, hulking, scary looking demon kind of possessed. But I'm going a little further with it. I just, we got to have some fun with some crazy dark stuff. Okay, so I'm working on this out right now. I'm going to put it all together for you guys. I'm going to do it through a subscription service. So please let me know if you like that in the comments. Just to get this channel kind of built out some more. This Christian role-playing game. Ton of stuff, ton of info. I've been blessed to be able to work on this day and night kind of thing. I'm semi-retired-ish, in a sense. No, I'm not really. My wife's a successful person, and I keep telling her to retire. Let's start our retirement life together, but she still wants more money. So I'm living here in Hollywood doing this, and I'm doing this for the Lord. I'm doing this. I'm trying to find ways to do things for the Lord. I'm going to the church more often. I go there now a few days a week, working on my membership and working on starting things to help bring in more people to the church. And they're all open for my pastor really likes this. I played with his family and his kids, and he saw the potential that getting kids to articulate the gospel terribly, but articulating nonetheless. Practice, drill, practice. All right, in the game of life, I hope you guys definitely please comment so we can kind of move this along. And anything that you think of about this. And that's it. Okay. Game of life. Roll holy dice.